Welcome, listener. Today's deep dive is custom tailored specifically for you. We are going back, way back to the cusp of the late 1980s and early 90s.
Right.
And we're going to untangle the incredibly fascinating and frankly pretty confusing public narrative surrounding the adult entertainer Tamara Lee.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
When you look at the research, our sources paint a specific and maybe surprising picture. This was, it seems, a natural performer whose primary passion wasn't really film, it was the stage.
And that distinction, between the stage and the screen, that's absolutely key to understanding her entire career path. We've pulled together quite a bit of material here, biographical entries, career overviews,
Right.
and detailed reports specifically looking into these persistent and really quite dramatic rumors about what happened to her after she, well, stepped away.
So our mission today is to distill the actual facts about her early career output, explore what made her unique persona connect so widely, and, maybe most importantly, dissect the conflicting reports and, the eventual reality of her life after she left the mainstream spotlight.
Okay, so just for context, we're discussing a performer born July 30, 1969 in California. She used the alias Miss Lee sometimes.
Sweet, sweet.
And her initial run in the industry, it was relatively brief, but definitely impactful. Lasted roughly 5 years, from maybe 1987 or 88 up until about 1993.
Wow, so she started young, like just turning 19.
Exactly. And this initial 5-year window, that's the foundation for this whole kind of complex story that unfolded later.
Okay, let's start with the brand there. Her appeal was, like you said, really specific, and fans really responded to it. What was it about Tamara Lee that made her a fan favorite back then, in that sort of golden age?
So she was kind of the quintessential natural fit for the look of the time, but with an important twist. We found evidence that her first steps weren't onto a film set.
Oh, interesting.
It was the spotlight. She actually started in topless and cabaret-style dancing, nude modeling too, and these sort of show sets. She was doing appearances in gentlemen's clubs as early as 1988.
So she had that live performer background, that polish, right from the get-go. And her physique, that must have amplified her appeal, right? The sources get pretty specific about her physical presence.
Absolutely. She was tall, 5 foot 10 inches, which is a 1.78 meters. That alone makes you commanding on stage.
Yeah, definitely.
But crucially, she was known for her all-natural, voluptuous body. Her whole brand was built around how she endearingly pulled off the top, heavy, innocently sweet, girl-next-door persona.
Okay, I see.
She wasn't like the super aggressive type you sometimes saw. She had this accessible, charming sweetness in her work.
So you combine that height, the natural curves, the measurements cited are around 38C, sometimes listed as 40D, 26-inch waist, 36-inch hips, and hazel, gray, or blue eyes. It really created a very specific niche, didn't it?
Exactly.
Like an approachable fantasy, the kind of performer people might actually pay to see at a local cabaret show.
That's precisely it. And this brings us right back to the main theme running through all the documentation we looked at. Source after source stresses that her true passion, her main professional drive, was dancing.
Okay, so if that's true, if the stage was really her main focus, how did the film industry fit in at all? Was it just a side thing?
Well, we found pretty compelling evidence that the adult film part of her career was basically treated as an artistic outlet, maybe, or like a secondary career move.
Yeah.
For performers who were already successful touring dancers, film gave them this extra layer of recognition, publicity. It helped sell tickets when they hit a new town.
Okay.
She seemed to recognize that success in movies could boost her dancing career and honestly help keep her living pretty comfortably doing those tours.
So it sounds almost like a smart business decision, not just an artistic one, using film as a kind of marketing tool for her live shows.
Exactly right. We see reports saying she only worked in films, sporadically because she was just too busy with her dancing career. She was in high demand as an exotic dancer.
Impressive.
She managed to be popular in both scenes, strip clubs, and adult films at the same time. But it seems the priority was always clear. Dancing came first.
All right, so given that film was sort of the secondary thing, let's look at the numbers. That initial run, roughly 88 to 93, how many movies did she actually make?
Our research points to around 60 to 64 films, intermittent movies. Now, the context here is really important.
Okay.
It's widely noted that this is a relatively small number considering the time span.
That is the key insight right there, isn't it? If you look at full-time performers in that era, I mean, top names could easily rack up 200, 300, maybe even 400 movies in 5 or 6 years.
For sure.
So 64 films over that period, it really highlights that intermittent focus. It just reinforces that the stage must have been where she spent like 80% of her working time.
And that schedule, being on and off film sets, it had physical side effects the sources picked up on. There's this specific observation that she tended to gain and lose weight between films.
Oh, that's such a fascinating detail, almost like a clue, you know?
Yeah.
A performer shooting back-to-back movies for a big studio, they often have this super regimented schedule, right? They try to maintain the same look.
Usually, yeah.
But someone touring constantly on the road, dealing with the different schedules, the stress of live shows, weight fluctuation makes total sense. It's like her filmography literally shows her touring schedule.
It really connects all the dots. I mean, she still worked with big names, Vivid, Filmco, Evil Angel are mentioned.
Yeah, the heavy hitters.
But it seems it was always on her terms, fitting movies into the gaps between her dancing tours. She
Yeah.
was definitely carving her own path.
So that leads us to her initial retirement phase, mid-90s. This should logically follow from everything we've just said about her passion, right?
Exactly. She retired from making films specifically to concentrate entirely on her dancing tours.
Okay, that confirms it then.
It really does. Given the choice between screen and stage, she overwhelmingly preferred dancing. That was her preferred work, financially and it seems personally too.
Right.
We also see her keeping some visibility through modeling work. She was photographed by people like Dirty Bob, other notable industry photographers, so she was still out there, just focusing on print and live shows.
Okay, now, here's where the story shifts. It goes from this interesting career analysis to something like an unbelievable urban legend. She steps away from cameras to tour, keeps a busy but maybe lower profile career.
Right.
And then years later, this persistent, incredibly sticky rumor starts spreading about her fate. What did this viral myth claim happen to her?
Oh, the rumors were very specific and tragic and pretty sensationalized. They claimed that Tamara Lee had contracted HIV/AIDS.
Oh, wow.
And they even attached a source, allegedly from a heroin addict ex-boyfriend. It was this classic dramatic tragedy story,
Right.
basically designed to explain why she'd vanished from the film world.
And it wasn't just whispers, right? The sources say it solidified into something that sounded verifiable. They cited a specific date and place for her death.
Yeah, exactly. February 3rd, 2005 in California. That level of detail is what gave the rumors so much traction.
I can see that.
It went from just chatter to being listed as fact on various online forums, even some databases for a while. It's even noted in some older sources that her charming personality and her look were genuinely missed after this supposed death,
Jeez.
which shows just how deeply this false story was accepted. I mean, can you imagine reading your own obituary, totally made up, but accepted by your whole professional community?
That's wild. So that brings us to the crucial question for this deep dive. What was the actual reality? If this specific, tragic, widespread rumor was believed for years, how did the truth finally come out?
Well, it took some actual digging. We know the Adult Film Database, AFD, they put staff resources into investigating these claims because they were so persistent.
Good for them.
And they eventually published a blog article, basically setting the record straight. They confirmed the death claims were completely wrong. Erroneous.
She was alive, okay. But just knowing she's alive doesn't stop that kind of misinformation once it's out there, does it? What did the investigation ultimately find?
They confirmed she was, quote, reported alive and well. And they confirmed her status as alive as late as 2006. The reality was far less tragic, thankfully, but the truth. Well, the truth came with its own staggering twist, something that completely redefined her career story again.
Okay, here it is. The big reveal. The woman who was supposedly tragically gone in 2005, the one who retired from film because she loved touring, what was she actually doing in 2006?
She came back to the film industry.
No way.
Yes. The AFD investigation ultimately concluded that she re-entered the adult industry in 2006.
Right.
And crucially, this wasn't like a return to the big studio feature she did in the 90s.
Different era.
Totally different. She was doing scenes with Dino Bravo, specifically for these burgeoning MILF-themed websites that were starting up then.
Wow, that transition itself says so much. It's a shift from the physical media studio-based industry of the 90s, where she was this intermittent star,
Right.
to the very beginning of the genre-specific digital content world of the mid-2000s.
It's an incredible contrast, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it completely definitively proved the death rumors wrong. But it also shows she was still willing to engage with the industry, even after years away.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, though,
Yeah.
why would someone so dedicated to the stage, who prioritized dancing so much, choose to re-enter the screen industry, even in this niche digital format, all those years later?
Yeah.
Doesn't that kind of contradict her original passion?
That's a great question. Maybe. Maybe it speaks to the changing economics around the early 2000s. The whole industry was moving online. It
True.
was creating these new, sometimes quite lucrative opportunities that maybe didn't require the same level of commitment as a big studio VHS release back in the day.
That's a strong possibility. Web content probably offers more control over your schedule than the constant grind of touring.
Right. Maybe the digital stuff was just a more manageable side venture than the stage tours had become by then.
Could be. This second act, whatever the motivation, money control, something else, it's the factual counterpoint to that dramatic, completely fabricated story the internet had created for her. It just powerfully shows the gap between, misinformation and confirmed reality for these kinds of profiles.
So let's pull it all together. Let's synthesize the source material and answer the question. What does this deep dive really tell us about Tamara Lee?
Well,
She was an entertainer, first and foremost, who defined her career by putting the stage first, screen second, known for that natural look, the girl next door charm, an intermittent movie star whose choices seemed guided by business sense and a love for live performance.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yet her legacy, for years, was defined not by the dancing career that was her actual focus, but by this widely believed, completely false death rumor.
Yeah.
Her story really illustrates a powerful truth about celebrity, especially in the internet age. When someone steps away from the easily documented world of film into something less tracked, like live touring, the vacuum that creates allows the most dramatic, the most sensational, and often the most baseless story to just take root and stick around.
She retired to focus on her actual career, and the narrative became this tragedy instead of just acknowledging her professional choice. Really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why do these myths about people who step back from the spotlight often become more famous, more persistent than their actual body of work?
It's probably the simplicity of sensation, right? Tragedy sells, it's easy to grasp. Nuance, not so much. She wasn't building this massive, easily trackable film list. She was doing this highly physical, largely undocumented touring schedule.
Right, harder to follow.
So when she wasn't consistently visible on film anymore, the simplest dramatic explanation filled that void, which makes the actual truth, her eventual return to digital content, even more kind of staggering when you finally uncover it.
So we encourage you, the listener, to reflect on that contrast. How often does the most dramatic yet demonstrably false narrative become the lasting memory of a public figure, especially when they transition away from the limelight into maybe a different kind of work?
Something worth thinking about.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.